We have this with another Money Moves. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Wendy, how are you doing today?
Amazing.
I
Warm
know,
weather. I love it. I'm just
I
like
know it's
happy.
every day, right? I was so excited on the 21st of March because it was the effect, the spring. I think it's the equinox or whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, and then it's a little rain, cloudy, but then the sun's out, the heat's coming. It's like, oh man, I can't wait for it. Can't wait for
I
it.
know.
Baseball's going on, so it's big
The
stuff.
best.
Big stuff. The UK Wildcats are doing good, which is good. So today we're
Mhm.
talking about some fun stuff along with weather. We're talking about a budget and a spending plan. What's the difference, and how can you use that to apply to your life? I don't know. You've actually, I think you were the one that coined the term spending plan. I've seen it some other places, but I think they stole it from you, Wendy. I don't know. I'm
I
told.
mean, I think I did. I can't remember how that came up, but yeah, somehow, I don't know if I heard it somewhere and repeated it or what happened, but yeah, it
Yep,
came up
exactly.
somewhere and we've been using it ever since.
I know, and I love it, and it's different from a budget. And Wendy and I were talking before we started the show, and she's like, "Well, is it?" And I'm like, "We're going to talk about that." So yeah, so do us a favor if you want to get control of your money. Tune in, click that little like button or that little thumbs up button down below, and text your friends and tell them, "Hey, jump on BlackSwanMoney.com and listen in on this. We're going to get started in just a few seconds. And we're back live. I was just catching up on Twitter. I've been in the Twitter sphere lately, so you should be following us. I'm at Black Swan Money. Wendy, what's your call sign?
On Twitter, I don't do Twitter. I don't know. I look at Twitter, but I don't tweet
Did you
on
just
Twitter.
Twitter shame me? Is that what
I
just
don't. I don't tweet. I just, I got Instagram, I got Facebook, I got LinkedIn.
I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook, and I also appreciate a good tweet now and again.
I like to read tweets. I just don't get very active.
You don't participate is because of the new owner? Is that you're boycotting or?
No, actually, I like the new owner so far.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Just checking. So we're actually not talking about that today, folks. We're talking about budgeting and being intentional about your money and something called a spending plan. What the hell is it? And how is it different? And what is a budget? I think most people honestly are confused by what a spending plan, what a budget is. And there is a difference. So let's talk about that first, and then we'll go into what it means to be intentional about your money. So Wendy, you made a statement earlier. You didn't think there was a difference, right?
I said, what is the difference? Is there really a difference?
There is. It's all about mindset. So
it's mindset. Yeah.
When I say the word budget, what do you think of? What's your reaction?
You cringe. You cringe. Yeah.
Nobody wants to budget. It's like eating chalk.
It's like painful.
Gen Xers, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the nails on the chalkboard. I get chills just thinking about that. Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
I know it's pain, right? It's like budget. Oh, I can't do anything fun. Whereas a spending plan, oh, well, I can spend. I'm planning to spend, right?
There you go.
There you go, right? So it's mindset, but it's all about, this, that, and the other. There's really, whether you're looking at call it a budget or call it a spending plan, one of the things that most people in middle America, and I was the same way for years, right, was how do you look at a budget? When I talk to people, do you have a budget? Oh, yeah, we use a spreadsheet or something like that. We keep track of what we spend. And that's it right there.
Mm-hmm.
You keep track of what you spend, meaning I keep track of what I've already spent, which I'm tracking what occurred in the past, meaning I can't do anything about it. I can kind of tighten up for the next month, but that's not what a budget, what a spending plan is designed to do.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the spending plan or the budget, and we're going to call it spending plan from now on. Budget,
Yeah.
So spending plan, what it's designed to do is be intentional, meaning at the first of the month, you already know in each area what you're planning on spending in those different segments.
Mm-hmm.
And, if my entertainment budget is $300 a month and it's the 15th of the month and my friends want to go out next weekend partying or whatever, right? Guess what? I'm done. We're doing pizza and Netflix at home, right? And so that's really that mindset thing. It's not keeping track of what's already been spent. It's determining what you're going to spend and having the discipline to stop and or reallocate it from somewhere else, but it's got to
Yeah.
come from somewhere. You can't just keep robbing Peter to pay Paul in your
Yeah.
own world.
It's
So
like a discipline, but then it's also freedom, right?
empowerment.
Because you can say, like, for me, like, I have an area that I spend a little more in the, what do you call it, personal care budget, personal care category.
Personal care.
And
Yeah.
so, between hair, I've readjusted my spending plan. I used to pay for nails and lashes and all the things. And I realized, hey, I don't really need to spend this much here because I realized the power of my money in other places. And so I've readjusted my spending plan. However, I have that set, so I don't feel guilty when I'm like, okay, I want to go, maybe this month I want to go get a pedicure. And I'm like, okay, I have that in my spending plan. So it's actually freedom. I heard somebody talk about before being on vacation and like, kind of complaining about the prices of things on vacation. But then her husband reminded her, hey, the reason we have this spending plan is this is your freedom to spend. Like, we have this available for this vacation to spend. So go ahead and buy the expensive meal. It's fine. Right. So there can be a lot of freedom in it.
Yes.
And there's freedom in,
not racking up debt, planning ahead.
Right. And and that's what there's like freedom in that you have the plan, you're sticking to the plan, and you know what your money is doing. You have control, right? Because I think most people we talk to have no control over their money. And I know that was me.
Most people we talk to have no idea where their money's going.
Mm-hmm.
And think of it like this, folks. If you don't have a spending plan, and I tell people this, if you don't have a spending plan, don't bother to try to build wealth. Okay. Mm-hmm. Even if you're making, I make plenty of money. And I hear that I make plenty of money. It's like, yeah, but you're not maximizing or being efficient with your money because you just happen to make a lot of money. And you've got a lot of, stuff trickling out of the bottom of your bucket. And what I mean by that is imagine everything you have, you're trying to put in this bucket like water, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a bunch of holes in the bottom of the bucket that you aren't aware of. Well, all that water is leaking out. And because you make good money, you don't realize it. And the next thing you know, something changes, job loss or whatever, or, the economy tightens like it's doing right now. I mean, how many layoffs are going on right now? Facebook just laid off, I think, like 5,000. Except my old company just laid off 19,000 people. One day, 1,000 people got laid off. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you want to be efficient with your money and plan, have a spending plan in place. So when those storms do come or whatever, you already have things in control. You've got your emergency fund, you've got your investment accounts and all that stuff, and you're being intentional about it. So, now that we kind of had that mindset, let's talk about the 3 basic buckets that your spending plan should entail, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of different things, like entertainment, like, when he was talking about, personal care, stuff like that. I mean, I pay to get my hair colored every month, right? These are highlights. My hair is normally jet black. But it's one of those things that, you want to kind of break it down to the basics, if you will.
Right.
And so we're going to talk about those 3 basic buckets today.
Yeah.
And I love the first one. Wendy, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So the first one, I think most people don't account for, especially in this order. And so what we're talking about too needs to be in this order.
Yep.
All right. These buckets. The first bucket is pay yourself first.
Yes.
What is the money that you're going to pay yourself? And so that's for your future. That's for, whatever the emergency fund, the investments, whatever it is for your future self. And that's what most people do not do. Mm-hmm. But I love looking at it as that's the number one priority.
Well, and when we talk to clients and things like that, I always ask them, who's more important? Who do you want to see have more success? Your mortgage company or you in life? Over the next 20 years, who do you want to see have more success? Your mortgage company or you? Well, it's always you, right? And then I'll ask, somebody, okay, you've got a Visa card from Bank A, right? Who do you love more, Bank A or your kids? Yeah. And they look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, okay, now let's think about that. Keep that logic. Who do you always make sure gets paid first, the mortgage or your future self for your retirement and wealth building? That bank credit card or your kid's college fund? Which one gets paid first? And unfortunately, that's the way we've been programmed and raised in middle America, right? We get our check, we look at it, some money's missing because we got taxed. So as good little workers, what do? We pay our bills because we want a good credit score. We're drilled in on our credit score, which don't get me wrong, you do want a good credit score. I'm not saying not.
And you should pay your bills,
And
but
you should pay your bills, right? Yeah, I'm not saying don't pay your bills, but we save and try to save what little bit is left over. Whereas with a spending plan, it's like, okay, I want to get to a point where I'm saving 10% of my income or 20%. Ideally, you want to be saving 20%, folks. Now, for the Gen Zs on there, you can get away with 10% for a while, but most Americans are at 5%. So you want to get to 10. And then when you get to your mid 30s, and start going into your 40s, you want to be close as 20% as you can get.
Yeah.
But looking at this, you go, okay, well, I'm gonna pay myself first. What exactly does that mean? Well, you allocate. Okay, well, I want to have my savings account and I want to have a little bit of fun money set aside, for whatever. But then the rest of it, I'm going to budget to live on or build a spending plan to live on for my rent, my mortgage, food, things like that, whatever that may be. Okay. That's the mindset you need to have. So that first one I love because it's so true. And it's what we do last in middle America is pay yourself first. What's number two, Wendy?
So number two, and this is going to consist of those like non-negotiable stuff. We call it the must-haves, right? Which is going to be your food, rent or mortgage, your food, your gas, your electricity, right? All those things that like are non-negotiables, right? So the bills, they got to be paid. So that's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yep.
Not much more to say about that. That's a pretty easy one. And then finally, the very last thing is we want the fun stuff, right? The personal care, right?
The vacation,
the entertainment, exactly. The travel, whatever, the random weekend trips, all the things that are extra, going bowling, doing those, date night. So all of that stuff later. So when you lay this out in this order, I'm paying myself first.
Yep.
Right. Because I think so many people have this mindset of, oh, I make this amount of money. So what do? We spend all that money, right? We spend all that money. And, we make more money now. So we're going to spend all that money. But if you start to train your brain and start to create your spending plan with, I'm paying myself first. And what's the goal I want to get to, right? You might not be able to do it today, but if you need to be at 20% and you're only at 10, like jump up 1% every 6 months. Go to 11%, then go to 12%, right? But work your way up, pay yourself first. And then you have all the bills and all those people that, are expecting money from you to live. And then what's left over goes in that fun bucket. And then that's the stuff where you have the flexibility to say, where do I want to put this money?
Yep, exactly. And it's one of those that, you've got to look at it from those, again, the necessities versus the wants, right? And sometimes that line can get blurred. So you want to ask yourself, okay, is this what I want to do? And that's by no means saying not to take the vacation. And we've already talked about this too. Don't necessarily look at, okay, well, I can't afford this. How can I afford this? Right. And that's where the side hustles come in. I mean, all the stuff that we're talking about, folks, if you haven't seen all of our videos, I would encourage you to go back and, you binge watch Yellowstone, right? Binge watch Money Moves. I mean, come on. And ours are only 15-minute long videos.
I actually talked to someone today who said she's been binging on our videos.
Boom. I love it because there's a lot of good information, but it all ties together for you. And so looking at, okay, well, man, I really wish I could save more and have a little more extra spending. Pay yourself first. I mean, and I tell my clients this too. You're going to have pain in your life, especially when it comes to build wealth. You can have a little pain now and do without something to be able to put some money away and let it grow over the next 10, 20, 30 years. Or you can go ahead and spend it today and then decide to get serious about your savings down the road when you're 40 or 50 and hope it all works out, which a lot of people do. And it rarely ever does just work out. But if you decide to do it, then you're going to have to put away a lot more money, which is going to be a lot more painful. And so you get to pick your pain. That's the beauty of life. I'm going to pick the pain that's lesser today and start putting money away. And I got a late start. Okay. Like a lot of people do. I got a late start. And it's like, okay, how do you do this? Well, you can either have more time added or more money added. Well, most of us can't add more time, right? We never know when it's going to happen. So you've got to add more money. But if you do a little bit of money now, get intentional with a spending plan, and again, break it down to those 3 buckets that Wendy just talked about. Pay yourself first. Then I'm going to the essentials, like the needs. I must have this, right? The non-negotiables. And then lastly, the wants. you know, the trips and stuff like that, the manis, the petties, and all the other stuff, right? The new clothes, the new car. Never buy a new car, buy one that's new to you. So,
and that's why, so like, to be frank, right? Like, I used to pay $55 every 3 weeks to get my nails done. And I'm like, I deserve it, right? Like, I work hard, I deserve it. And in looking through and really mapping out, like, and creating my spending plan, I'm like, do I really need to spend this kind of money on nails? I was with my aunt and she's like, Wendy, look at mine and they look gorgeous. She's like, Walmart from the, they're like glue on nails and they last for like 2 weeks. So no joke, I've had these on for 2 weeks. They look just as good, because I normally do a natural look. They look just as good as me going and getting them done. And I'm not saving yet what I need to, right? My goal is actually 30%, but I'm not even saving 20% now. And that's what I need to work towards. So that was where I'd go back and adjust and look at things and go, where is my money going? And I know that extra $55 every 3 weeks going towards my future self with time is way more impactful than, my nails. So, exactly. And not everything you have to do that, right? But if you're not where you want to be on the paying yourself first, I love laying it out that way, because then you get to truly look at it and go, what are my priorities and where can I adjust? So
exactly. So folks, that's our topic for today. So love to hear from you. Comment below, and chime in. And then, like I said, if you've got a video or a topic you want to learn about, we'd love to talk about it for you and kind of open that discussion. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Do you budget? Or if you do, what software you use? There's a lot of great ones out there and some not so great ones. But again, just to kind of recap, be intentional, be proactive, not reactive to what you already spent. Kind of determine and have the discipline to control it in the month in front of you, right? Focus on paying yourself first, focus on the essentials, the must-haves, and then focus on the wants after that. So folks, it's been great. Wendy, it's been awesome. And, we'll see you next week with another Money Moves. Exciting stuff happening in the economy. Don't get left behind. So click that little subscribe button, share this video on your social media. We would greatly help it, and it helps us algorithms if you love what the content you're getting. And we'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line, and we're easy to find. So have a great day, everybody.